2 shots of vodka.
Hello, our 10 subscribers. I'm Dr. Jones, and this is
Flame Mash. And I am
Flame
Flame
Mash.
Mash.
Yeah. And today,
today.
You want to introduce the movie?
You know what? We're just gonna go for it.
Okay,
today
we're gonna
we
go
will
for
be talking about Mothra versus Godzilla, the 1964 film.
Yeah, or if you're in America, Godzilla versus the Thing, because in the 60s, apparently Americans had to make everything confusing.
Yeah, you got right.
So, I'll lay down some plot summary of this movie, if you can call it that.
You're better off than me because
Okay.
I can only talk about what I thought of it. I can't summarize the plot very well.
Let me break out my notes here. So, this movie is the fourth Godzilla movie in the series, and it's connected with the 1961 Mothra movie because it has, Mothra and Godzilla in it. But anyways, so we start off with a hurricane that is just destroying the small, beachside city. I don't know what it's called. It's some Japanese word. I thought the effects for that were pretty cool, how they did the ocean. But anyways, so afterwards we're introduced to our first character, which I think you've stated there's no reason she should be in the movie.
There is no reason.
The photographer, what's her name? I'm gonna butcher it. It's
I think it's
not Yuki. That's what it is. Yuki.
The Wikipedia article says Junko, I think.
Junko. Okay,
yeah.
That's what I have. Junko and
has no reason to be in the movie. What was she doing there? She contributed
She's
to
taking pictures.
She contributed to 3 scenes.
Well, she only has one real scene where she's on the island trying to convince the natives to or trying to convince Mothra to help stop Godzilla and save Japan. But other than that, there is no reason she should be in the movie. And then we're introduced to what's his name? Sakai. Yes, who's a journalist. And he's kind of a jerk to Jun.
What her name?
I don't know what her name is. What's her name?
The photographer. There we go.
Yeah.
That solves the problem.
Yeah. So they find through the wreckage, they find some weird radioactive kind of thing floating around. They were going to take a picture of, and this idiot just picks it up with his hands. And then
they found the price really easily because it was equivalent to 1 million chicken eggs or something.
Yeah, the egg washes up on shore. This business tycoon,
Happy Enterprises.
Yes, that is the least suspicious name or evil corporation name that could ever be. So I think I did the calculations. It was over. He did the price of.
It was the equivalent amount of chicken eggs the egg was. I think the number changed twice throughout the movie.
Yeah,
I think
it
was
just inconsistent.
I think it was a couple thousand, and then next thing I remember hearing was it was 1 million chicken eggs, and it was
1 million chicken eggs.
It's they paid the price. It was 800,000 yen or something for it.
800,000. Yeah. So, which I have no idea, but I don't think that's a lot of money. But whatever.
I mean, this is also 1960.
64.
Inflation.
Post-war Japan. Then we're introduced to the professor who's studying the egg, Professor Minura. I'm just gonna call him Professor.
I actually have
But
no
this
clue.
actor,
The
this
Wikipedia article
actor,
doesn't mention it.
but this actor was in the original Mothra movie, but he played a completely different character, so it makes it like really confusing him in the movie. But anyways, so they can't. They're like driven off the land because the business guy bought it, and he's gonna make a theme park from this giant egg. And then we're introduced to the real owner of Happy Enterprise. I think his name is Torihata. And we see both the business guys talking about their plans, how they're gonna make billions of dollars off this giant egg. And then we see the Shobijin, or the fairies, come, and they're like, "Dog, you gotta return this egg. You don't understand." And they don't want to, so they try to like capture them, I guess, right? Which I thought was really weird how they made them. So I'm like, did they make giant furniture or something? I don't know how they did that. I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Oh yeah, for the tiny people.
Yeah, the tiny people, the
Um,
the Shobijin,
I don't know what they were actually called. I just refer to them as the tiny
the
people.
tiny people. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, do they have significance? I mean, they summon Mothra for the very end, but that's about it.
Yes.
And a lot of singing. I mean, yes.
They were also in the first Mothra movie. And I was doing some research, and apparently the two actors are actual singers. And that's how they were recruited into the movie, for their singing ability. And that they were twins.
They didn't really act. I can see.
No, they didn't. They just kind of said, "You must return the egg."
You must return the egg.
That's all they said.
You must return the egg, for Mothra will be mad.
So then, what they talk about how like their influence, how they have so much political influence because of their corporation, and after that, we have our main characters, Sakai and his group of people. Just, they encounter the fairies who try to convince them to release the egg or get the egg back to Mothra. And that's when we're first introduced or see Mothra in this movie. She's just kind of chilling on a mountain. And then after that, we see them try to talk to the business guys, and they're like, "No, you have no proof that this egg belongs to Mothra." And then they whip out, or they brought the fairies with them, and then they try to buy them because corrupt businessmen, right?
It's
Yeah.
tiny people, I tell you. It's another attraction. They've got giant
And
eggs and tiny people, tiny women.
it was 200,000 yen was the offer, and that's about $18,000 in in USD. So I guess that's how much they were worth.
I mean,
18,000
200,000 yen in 1964. I mean, conversion rates are going to be different as it is post-war Japan.
$18,000 for two living, like, humans, technically, right?
No, they're tiny people. That's
Yeah, they're tiny people, right? But then after that, we see the doctor's done analyzing this radioactive thing he found in the wreckage.
Yep.
So then
and then
they go to the destroyed area that the business owners own.
That they were going to create the amusement park or whatever it was.
Yes.
And then out of nowhere, Godzilla awakens.
Yes, and he comes out of the ground.
Which, I mean, there's an explanation on Wikipedia, but I'm pretty confident this is literally fans trying to fill in plot holes from the previous movie, so...
Because there is no reason he should be in the ground, right? The last movie he was in, he fell into the ocean. So I don't know. It's whatever Toho's doing.
Here we go. This is Wikipedia's explanation for it. They soon find Godzilla, who had been washed up onto Karunda Beach and buried under mud by the hurricane after his absence since his clash with King Khan, had suddenly emerged.
So he was just throughout the entire. He slept through the entire hurricane, and it just
Yep.
swept him underground, or what?
And then he got buried.
Yeah, he
by
got
a
buried.
hurricane.
Then he comes out of the ground, and he's just like,
Rawr, I'm
he
angry.
just like he has no idea where he is. Like, and then we see him like destroy buildings and stuff, and he wraps his tail around this building, and then makes it fall onto him, and then like as if he's drunk, he just starts beating it in like a blind rage. I'm like, idiot, you're the one who made it fall on you.
I just want to point out, these are, I just want to point out, Godzilla in this movie, his eyes made him look like a really annoyed cat. He had the eyes of a really annoyed cat.
Yes. Actually, the design for Godzilla in this one is probably one of the better ones, at least from the 60s to 70s era, the Showa era. And then after, this is the one they kind of really based all the other designs off of. But then we see him like walking in the back with the blue screen and the people running, and that was just
destroying.
It was
just slowly destroying Japan.
And then there's a scene with the pagoda where he like trips into it and falls into it.
Yeah.
And then like he's drunk, and then he just like starts destroying it because he's like, "Oh, what the freak?" Wait.
So, yep. And then continuing with the summary, people are mad that and people are panicking now that Godzilla has magically appeared out of nowhere.
Yes. So then our main characters go to Mothra's island, Infant Island, to try to convince Mothra to stop Godzilla. But the natives aren't really happy with them because their island was destroyed by nuclear testing, so they believe that, hey, you created Godzilla, so you should be destroyed by Godzilla. And we have no business helping you because you destroyed our island. And then they eventually convince Mothra to help them because they're like, why should you let innocent people die alongside guilt? And that's like a sacred right or something. I think that's what the photographer said. Don't quote me. And then
actually, it was them drinking whatever it was. It was a It was a sacred rite, and it purified them.
Yeah.
Purified their soul. I remember that now. So they do that. They bring Mothra. They do some other stuff. The two fairies.
Yeah, they like awaken Mothra.
They awaken Mothra. They go back to Japan. Mothra fights Godzilla.
But she's kind of a boomer, so she's super old.
Yeah, she's a really old boomer.
Yeah, so she can't really fight as well. But she does. She humiliates Godzilla. She drags him by his tail.
Mm-hmm.
She puts up a pretty good fight, I would say.
And then Godzilla apparently hits her with his atomic breath, and then she dies from exhaustion.
Yeah, she's just tired.
Yep.
She's done. And then she lands on her egg.
Yep, she lands on her egg. And then Godzilla's just like, cool, bro. Well, back to the
Yeah, he just leaves. He just leaves. He's like, yeah, I'm done. And then we see the military and their plan, which I thought was kind of cool to see.
Yep, with
the military more involved. Oh yes, the looping shots.
The looping missile
Okay.
shots and looping plane shooting.
They showed that like 5 times the
Yeah,
missile.
I noticed.
In there 5 times. Like, okay, that really bugged me. That and the blue screen. Like, I get that the blue screen, it's like what, like a 60-year-old movie. The effects aren't that great, but like they had to use the same shot
Yep.
5 times in a row, and it's like they're shooting the missiles. It's not even hitting Godzilla. They're like hitting right next to him. They can't even hit him.
Yep.
They just miss him until he like falls into a ravine. They hit him once, and then doesn't do anything because it's Godzilla.
And then they attempt to shock it. Does
Yes.
nothing. Just knocks over the tower.
Yeah, it just knocks over the tower. Well, I think they put the nets on him, right? From the helicopters.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, they put the helicopter, and they were about to kill him, but then the general's like, frick, I got like a lunch meeting or something. I gotta get this over with, so
Shock him!
shock him more. And so they burn the freaking generator or whatever, and then Godzilla escapes.
And then he knocks down the tower. And then
He starts freaking up.
And then rampages Japan some more.
Yeah, but while this is happening, the fairies have like their 4th song, right? The 4th time they sing,
And then they
which
just
that
sing
really
for the rest of
bugged
the
me.
movie. It's
Yeah, they
just
sing.
basically they just keep singing for the rest of the movie.
They keep singing. They awaken Mothra larvas. In
2
the
of
egg.
them
Yeah, 2. It's a twist.
from the egg.
Yeah, from an egg. Who would have thought that? Moths lay eggs. Like freaking Easter eggs.
No, who would have thought?
But
Apparently Mothra does.
so Godzilla gets tired. He's like, I'm gonna go to this
I'm
island,
gonna go.
right?
I'm done terrorizing Japan for now. Oh wait,
I'm
there's an
gonna
island over there that's just off the coast of Japan. Yeah, let's go terrorize that instead.
Yeah, and then apparently, okay, so this part was just so. It felt like it was thrown in there at the last 10 minutes
I mean, this
of
was
the movie.
10th
It was the last.
I mean, this basically was the last 10 minutes.
They're like, we gotta figure out a way to get our main characters still involved in the movie. Oh, let's just make a plot about some school teachers taking their kids to an island for a field trip, and Godzilla just happens to go to the island. So they need to be rescued. That's what our main characters do. They go rescue.
But wait,
They go rescue these people.
no one's gonna take them by ship because Godzilla's on the way there. Everyone literally agrees. Yeah, they're dead, guys. They're dead. We need to escape.
Yeah. Then after that, we have the final battle between
I
the
just
Mothra
love
larva.
the 2 Mothra larvae and
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Yeah, they web him up, and then he falls into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Gets defeated by 2 worms, essentially.
2
Right?
larvae.
2 larvae.
You know what? They're too agile. That's what happened. They just
Yeah.
evaded the atomic breaths.
They're too fast.
They were too fast for him. I mean, and then the movie just ends.
Yeah, the movie
I
ends
mean-
so abruptly.
I mean, it just ended after
Like
that.
it just ends with the main characters waving. Goodbye.
Boy. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about scenes that happened. I mean, we kind of hit it with it. I mean, is there any scenes that hit you while you were rewatching it, and that we haven't?
There was
about?
one scene that kind of surprised me. It was when they were, I don't know what they're doing. They were doing pyrotechnics or something. They were burning the set, and they shot something at the suit, the person named Godzilla, and the suit itself caught on fire in the face. And I'm like, what the frick? I just thought that was crazy. Because I'm like, they're literally if you think about it, they're shooting fireworks and tiny missiles at this guy in this giant rubber suit.
It's not even something that was in the actual movie. We're talking about. It's like, yeah, so, yep, that happened.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah, what else? I thought it was kind of cool to see him come out of the ground.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought that was so cool. I definitely thought so.
But I mean, amongst fans, this is supposed to be one of the better ones in the '60s and '70s.
Okay.
Story wise, right? I mean, I guess the main story is just about corporate greed, right? And
corporate greed's bad.
yeah,
Apparently, I mean,
I think I wrote a theme down. The dangers of the pursuit of corporate greed,
and nuclear testing. We didn't like
and the
nuclear
environment.
testing.
Yeah.
Because was Mothra around before the nuclear testing, or?
Yeah. I think that's why she was. I don't know. In the first movie, the island was still destroyed by nuclear testing.
So, does that mean that Mothra is like Godzilla and was created by nuclear testing? Oh wait, no. Was Godzilla, or was he?
Godzilla was, yeah.
He was created by Fallout.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's actually about it. I mean, I think it summarizes this movie perfectly.
I think, yeah, dangers of corporate greed, and then I guess with the part with the human story-wise,
I don't think it was
someone.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think it added anything. I think it was literally just there. Half the
If I had to make a guess on like what the main theme was for the characters, I think it would be like someone has to take like a first step in a broken relationship, to ever, if it's ever to be mended or fixed, because
yes.
yeah, because like nothing will improve if both parties are just stubborn, right?
But I've got a better solution for this.
Okay,
Don't screw with things you don't understand. It's brilliant. If they didn't mess around with the eggs, everything would have been fine. If they didn't mess around with it and they didn't piss off Godzilla, everything would have been fine. If they didn't mess around with the nuclear testing, none of this would have ever happened.
True. Humans are bad.
Yeah, I think that's just the theme of these Godzilla movies. It's just the humans are bad guys. Yep. I mean, yeah. I think it's time to rate it.
Was it? Yeah. So was this? Just a quick question. Was this your first Godzilla movie you ever watched?
Yeah, this was my first Godzilla.
This was your first Godzilla.
I mean, I knew about the character. I mean, I've known about it because it's kind of difficult not knowing about it. But yeah, this is the first Godzilla movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it didn't put you off from the entire series. Okay, I think with that,
yeah, I think
we should go into a rating.
Yeah, a rating. So I think like normal, we have our basically out of 10 setting.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless we want to do anything special, like 10.
10 Godzilla larvae.
10 Mothra
10
eggs.
10 Mothra eggs. 10 Mothra larvae.
Yeah.
10 Godzillas. It's brilliant.
Yes. Okay. Well,
I think I would give this like a solid 5.
Okay. I can respect that.
I think it's like a solid 5. I mean, I've seen worse movies. I think we're gonna end up watching worse movies and reviewing them in the future. We've seen better movies.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting. It was a fairly slow start. I mean, there was a butt ton of plot holes in the movie that never got sorted out. I mean, it's an okay movie.
So
Especially
yeah.
for 1964 Japan standards, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Most Godzilla fans rank this like an 7.4 or 7.5. But if I'm looking at this as like just a normal guy who watched this, I'd probably give it like a 6.3. I thought the monster battle was kind of entertaining. And then other than that, like maybe the design for the suit was cool, but other than that, like the human story was probably one of the better ones of the Godzilla movies, but it was just I don't know if it was the dub I watched. It probably was because I think we watched different dubs.
I
But the
think we.
voice acting was just it just wasn't that great, and it just kind of made the character seem really just dull. But yeah, I would probably give this like a 6, a solid probably 6. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that was Godzilla versus the Thing, or Mothra versus Godzilla, however you want to
Whatever you want to
call
call
it.
it. That 1964 movie in which Godzilla fights Mothra. There we go.
Not to be confused with the 1992 one, where
where
Godzilla
Godzilla
also
also
fights
fights
Mothra.
Mothra. But it's not the Mothra from this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta end this here. I think I believe next time we're going to be reviewing Source Code, a movie that I actually
Yes.
recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it.
Interested to see this one.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think of it also.
Well, we'll probably upload next Saturday. Maybe. Who knows?
This has been TreeJo Entertainment. Is that what our tag is?
Is that our... Is that our name?
I think it. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's
Greatest
TreeJo Entertainment.
verse ever.
Yep. That has been TreeJo Entertainment, and we
Yeah.
are signing out.